B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, Shiur Torah, Bruchim Habayim. We have our Sunday night series in Sunny Isles. We're continuing our Jewish Hashkafa series based on the Chazon Ish and Emunah B'Bitachon Sefer. Today's shiur will be for Refuah Shlema for Rabbanit Levana Bat Sarah, David Ben Esriya, Doris Bat Jora, Orit Bat Ilana, Yitro Ben Avraham, Talia Bat Sarah, Esther Bat Tzipora, Dvorah Bat Mercedes, Serach Bat Batya, Batya Bat Sarah, and all of Am Yisrael Bezrat Hashem, Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf. Also for Atzlacha Rabba for Shaul Ben Farzane, Oshri Ben Doris, Gabi Ben Doris, Elad Ben Doris, and Rav David Cohen Ben Rina. Atzlacha Rabba Lekol Maaseh Yadem, to all of the and Uva Bula. Ahuva Bula. Ahuva? Ahuva בת שרה ובולה בן אברהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ייתן להם רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, חיים ארוכים, שלמים, מלאים תורה, מצוות, גמילות חסדים, זאת השם. Amen, 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 amen. So the Chazon Ish over the last couple of months, Baruch Hashem, rewired our brains a little bit to understand the mechanics of the body, but how, more importantly, how to connect the mechanics of the body in order to recognize the beauty of the Creator Himself. Now, when a person simply looks at his arms, his legs, his eyes, you look at yourself every day in the mirror, before you know it, you're used to it. And it's very hard to take something that you're used to and start all of a sudden appreciating it. You know, sometimes when you have shlom bayit problems, it's not necessarily because the couple changed. It's not because the wife changed or the husband changed, but many times it's simply because they didn't change. Meaning that the appreciation that they had for each other when they first met was, let's say, at level 10. Everything she cooked, he liked. Everything he brought home, she liked. Fast forward a few years, the appreciation starts deteriorating. So much so that all he recognizes on the table is what's missing. She made 7, 8, 9 salads for Shabbat. All he notices, we're missing the Israeli salad. What happened to the 8 salads she made? Oh yeah, well she always does it. So a husband like that, of course, can have shlom bayit problems. Or sometimes the husband comes home and he's, let's say, a little bit late. Shows up at 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night, and she starts, woman starts yelling, "Oh, why are you late? I'm waiting all day." Did you say thank you for the fact that he worked all day? That he's bringing parnasah home? Or he learned all day? No. First, attack. So what happens is that when we get used to things, they start losing value. And even more so when we get used to the present that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, like our eyes, our arms, our legs, and everything else. And many times we forget to appreciate our children. First thing in the morning, the kids, what do usually? Complain. First thing, they're experts in complaining, especially if they don't have very good communication skills because they're still little, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. What do? They cry. First thing in the morning, they don't know how to communicate. They want to eat. They want to go to the bathroom. They want this, they want that, so they cry. If a parent doesn't really understand what kind of gift they have, that millions of people would die just to have that gift, first thing that the parent does, like, oof, again you're complaining, oof, again you're doing this, oof, again. And the reality is that because you're used to the kid, because he was here yesterday, and he was here the day before, and he was here the day before, and already for a few years he's here, and he's not even paying rent. All he does, he eats and excretes what he ate. What does he do? And he complains about it. So you forget that the kid's a gift. Why? You got used to it. Now, the problem with getting used to things is that if you forget how to appreciate and be grateful for the things you have between you and another person that's very dear to you, you and your wife, you and your husband, you and your kids, it's extremely simple and quick for you to become ungrateful to the Borei Barach. Why? Whatever you're complaining about between you and another person is only after you got used to it after a few years. Needless to say, you're used to the things you've had your whole life. Like the brain you have that works, and the legs you have that work, and then all the different things that you have. So the Chazon Ish has given us new insights to appreciate the body parts that we have and that we take for granted, and to help us see not only the beauty of the Creator, but also the beauty of the creation itself. Now, in the last couple of weeks, in the weekly parasha, here in the exile, we read we're one behind Israel. We had 2 different times that HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that, okay, enough's enough, I'm going to destroy everybody. And we had the Meraglim, the spies, all of which were Gdolei Ador. They weren't just regular people. They were Anashim. Anashim meaning they were leaders. They were leaders of the tribes. They went to Eretz Yisrael, and they saw what they saw, and they reported what they saw. They didn't lie. And they got punished for it. And the Gemara says they got punished a very unusual death where their tongues connected to their belly button. And they died a very slow death. And every year, there's a day during the year that we fast on that day. But the point being is that this is a horrific day. But these Meraglim did what they did. The question is, what did they do wrong? I mean, if I told you, go to the bathroom, tell me what you see. And you tell me I went to the bathroom, I saw a toilet and faucet. Does that make it a sinner? What are you going to say? No, it smelled bad too. Is that Lashon Hara in the bathroom? Is that Lashon Hara in the bathroom? It's true, it smells bad. What's the problem? When you tell me, oh yeah, the water is a little brownish today. What is that Lashon Hara on the water? Hashem's going to punish you on that. The question is, why did Hashem get so upset that he almost destroyed all of Am Yisrael? Then we have last week, Parashat Korach. Who did Korach become chavruta with? Who are his supporters? The biggest rabbis in the world. 250 of the biggest rabbis in the world. All Talmidei Chachamim. All Nevi'im. All prophets. And after they came and they decided to challenge Moshe Rabbeinu, Kadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe, stay away from these Reshaim or else you're going to die too. Whoever's next to these people is going to die also. What, you're not allowed to challenge a rabbi? I have a question, Rabbi. Okay? You said such and such in this shiur, but I found a Chacham that said something different than you. Is that a sin? The entire Gemara is full of machloket. The entire Gemara is full of challenging. Rava says this, Abaye says that, Rabbi Shimon says this, Rabbi Yehuda says this. What's the problem? Not to disagree? Why I mean, it's a go to such an extent that you want to kill everybody? Why so mad? Why so mad? On the other hand, we have a woman that was in the bottom of the barrel of Tum'ah. I don't think there's many women in the world today that understand what level of Tum'ah this woman was in. She was not only a prostitute, but she was also the pimp too. And what does she get? She gets to marry the Gedol Hador, and on top of it, 8 children that are all Nevi'im, all prophets. Best of all, she's part of a nation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself says, they're cursed people, don't marry them. And even if they want to convert, don't convert them. Huh? She converts. She marries Gedol Hador Yeshua ben Nun. Mentioned in the Gemara as a tzadikah. All the children are tzadikim. Prophets talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks back to them. How could it be? The Chachamim say, when Yeshua ben Nun sent the Meraglim, he sent the spies to go look at the land. She lived by the Choma, by the wall. And she knew that if the people over there knew that these Jews are in their country, they're going to kill them. So she told them, I'm going to hide you. Why? We heard about your God and what he did for you. And we heard that he is the king here and in the upper world. And for that, I'm going to sacrifice my life and hide you. Because if the nation, if the king, if the police, they find out that she's hiding them when they came over there, and they found out that she's hiding them under a bunch of rugs, what are they going to do to her? What are they going to do to her family? They cut her up into pieces. After they do every other horrible sin and crime under the sun, especially because of her profession. They cut her up into little pieces, torture every member of her family before they cut them up also. Why are you hiding them? Because you heard a story. Not because you were at Mount Sinai. You heard a story, you heard. Kadosh Baruch Hu, the God of the Jews, he is the king. So hold on a second. We have a big problem here. On one end, we have the Meraglim at the time of Moshe Rabbeinu that go to Eretz Yisrael. They see what they see, they report the truth, they get punished with the worst horrible death penalty you could possibly imagine. Yeshua ben Nun sends Meraglim. His Meraglim, they see what they see, they get heavenly protection, and on top of it, they find this woman, she's good. When we come back, we're going to save you, we're going to save your whole family, and on top of it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does what he does, she's going to marry the Gedol Hador. She's going to convert, she's going to be tzadikah, everything's good. What about the 40 years of znut, of filth that she was involved in? It's not relevant to her. Not relevant to her. What do you mean? She converted, it's like a previous gidul. It's like a previous life, it's not relevant to her. That's why I always tell people, one of the greatest gifts in the world that HaKadosh Baruch Hu offered to the Goyim is the opportunity to convert. Why? Whatever you did in your previous life, it's like belongs to somebody else. As the Rambam paskins l'halacha, the day a person converts, new birthday. Your previous birthday, don't even celebrate, it's not relevant to you. Your name should be changed, not relevant to you anymore. Your parents, not even considered your parents anymore. They're considered your biological parents, but not your spiritual parents. So much so, that if you convert, and you're a man, or a woman, and one day, your brother, or your sister, if you're a man, your sister, if you're a woman, your brother, your sibling of the opposite gender, wants to come over and spend a few nights at your house. What's the problem? You're in your 20s, 30s, she's in her 20s and 30s, but she didn't convert. Or even if she did, guess what? Forbidden. Forbidden to stay at your house. Not because she's a bad person. Because you're not allowed to be with her. What do you mean? But she's my sister, I'm not going to be with her. No, she's not your sister. My sister. She's somebody that has some cells that are similar to yours. Once you convert, not related anymore. It's just like having a strange girl staying at your house. Not allowed. So when a person understands what's the magnitude of their change, they understand, what? What's happened? Just for me having the Brit Milah and dipping into the mikveh. So now you have Lachav changed who she is. One of the most beautiful women in the world, the Gemara says in the Masechet Megillah, she was so beautiful that anyone that said her name 3 times, seed would exit their body. Just said the name, without seeing her. That's how beautiful she was. One of the most beautiful women that ever lived. She marries the Gdol Hador. All of her previous crime, erased like it never happened. Why did she get such schal? It's like she has a nice history. She used to go to Shulei Torah every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and she would publicize shurim on Facebook to do kiruv. She gave tzedakah, maaser. What'd she get? What'd she do? Every crime under the sun. Whereas the other Meraglim, and Korach and his friends, all tzaddikim. The exception of the Tanra Aviram, which were Reshaim from day one. Everyone else was tzaddikim. So how come all of these tzaddikim, leaders, no, Hashem did not tell Moshe Rabbeinu, pick a bunch of Reshaim to be the leaders. The leaders were the biggest Talmidei Chachamim. How come those are going to get punished with the worst unusual death in the world? The time of Korach got swallowed up, and all the rest of them, all the followers, got burned with special fire. How come? Their history, oh Hashem, used to learn, toil, they heard and saw the words of Hashem. Chachav, what'd she see? She saw a different husband every day, what'd she see? Why did she get such a reward to marry the biggest rabbi in the world? Yeshua ben Nun. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So B'ezras Hashem tonight, we'll answer that question. The Rav, Chazon Ish, says the following, chapter 1, section number 6. Man is created with all of his limbs supremely intact, all his senses completely enabled, an intelligent soul instilled in him from heaven, and even future generations ensured by the way of the reproduction mechanism. So already we've heard about the different parts of the body, and now the Chazon Ish tells us about how the creation itself, when it finally comes to the world, it's perfect. So perfect that in it is already a built-in system to reproduce forever. Same way you have how HaKadosh Baruch Hu created everything else in the world. You know, when you eat a fruit, at the end of when you eat your fruit, what do you get to? You get to the seed. Now you may not care for the seed, but in reality, if it wasn't for that seed, there wouldn't be any more fruit. In the old days, they didn't have all the streets and traffic and all the things. What they have, people would take the seed, throw it on the floor. What would happen? A few years later, that little seed will turn into a tree. Then instead of 1 apple, you have another 1,000 apples. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a very unique system. Now to make sure that the seed doesn't go and get wasted, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do every time with every seed? Around the seed, he builds it a shell. The hardest part of the fruit, the part that you don't eat, he built a shell to protect the seed. Why? Because if the seed was soft, you'd eat the seed also. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to ensure the reproduction of this fruit, so he puts a shell on it, something that's not really tasty. So you throw out that cork of the apple, you throw out that part of the different fruit that you have, you throw it somewhere. So as it decomposes, the seed is freed, and Be'ezrat Hashem, a new tree arrives. Shtabach Shemo La'ad. I one time had a chidush about how HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught us musar by simple fruit. Where you see a fruit, it's very unique. Every fruit, doesn't matter what you, whether it's a apple or it's a watermelon or anything else. Now the most beautiful way to see the whole fruit is if you cut it in half. You cut it in half, you see the whole fruit. You see the outer part, which is the klipa. Then you have the body of the fruit itself, the peel, and the body of the fruit. Then you see the shell that's guarding the seed, but also separating the seed from the rest of the fruit. And then you see the seed. And if you go on my site, you have a few clips about this, or you go on the internet, you see, or you just go home, cut a fruit in half. Now, the beautiful part is that you can learn musar from a fruit. Why? This is just like a HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a human being. When you peel a fruit, doesn't matter what fruit, you peel it. If you're going to eat it, good. But if you don't eat it, after a little while, what happens? It turns brown. Why? Why doesn't it turn brown when the peel's still on it? Because that's protection. Because it's not supposed to be exposed. A human being, when it has clothes on, no one knows all of his flaws. No one knows all of her flaws. Women, when are they most beautiful? When they're most modest. So now, when you have the peel on, when you have the clothes on, you're the most beautiful. Once you start taking off the clothes, you're not adding beauty. You're decreasing beauty. In fact, you start decaying in the eyes of people. Women, for some reason, think that if they have less clothes on, they look more beautiful. In reality, you ask any normal man that's not just full of tavot, you ask him, who do you want to marry? This woman that walks around like she's a behemoth with no clothes on, or a woman that looks like a princess that has a gown on? Who do you want to marry? Who do you want to have bear your kids? Who do you want raising your kids? The one that has the same clothing as the cow, or the one that's actually taking care of the cow because she has clothes on? Which one? No man that's normal would want to marry the cow. No man. Why? Because, okay, this is maybe for desires, but not for a wife. Not for a wife. The apple, as soon as you took off the peel, automatically it starts deteriorating, starts turning brown. Why? The apple's shy. I'm not supposed to be naked. A woman, if she's normal, as soon as she starts uncovering herself, she'll be shy, embarrassed. Why? You're not supposed to be this way. You're not a dolphin. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, listen, you have a body. That body is the cover for your neshama. That's the seed. That's the seed, Rabotai. But if you learn from a fruit, you can go to Olam Haba. If you ignore the fruit, you go to a different section. Now, the Chazon Ish says that in man, in all of creation, is a built-in mechanism to reproduce. Now, the beautiful part is that as soon as a baby comes to the world, all of this is intact. Now, of course, there are certain things that still need to develop a little bit more, such as the top of the head. There's still a little bit of a hole over here under the skin, so that's why it's very sensitive, because the head is still growing, and certain parts of the body. But needless to say, everything is there. Rav Shach, alav shalom, one time had to have some medical treatment on his heart. And he asked the doctor, so let me ask you, all this stuff that you guys do with the heart, replace this, replace that, have you found a replacement for the heart? And the doctor says, listen, Kvod Harav, I'm doing this for 40 years. No matter what they do, this type of plastic, this type of mechanism, this type of this type of that, nothing is better than the original heart. So how come? You're working on it every day, you're working on it every... He said, yeah, it just doesn't work. He said, wait. So the heart, in its original format, is as good as it's ever going to be. He says, Kvod Harav, that's what it is. He says, so don't you see that that's from God? If you can't fix it any further, you cannot create anything better, don't you see that only God can create such a thing? A human being cannot be in a better way. You know, because of my good teeth, I went to a few dentists a few months ago, and I told them I'm sick and tired of root canals, the scam of the dentistry industry. They torture you, rob you for $3,000-$4,000 just to come back a few years later because the whole thing's gone anyway. So I said, listen, I want to change everything. How much is it going to cost? So the doctor told me, listen, maybe you don't want to change everything. Maybe just change a few. I said, no, I don't want to change everything. I don't want to see you ever again, with all due respect. I don't want to come back to the dentist ever again. So you can just put something there so I don't have to come back ever again. He goes, no, you have to come back anyway. I said, why? But you already put something to replace it. He says, nothing is better than your teeth. I said, but they're all terrible. He says, yeah, but those terrible ones are still better than anything we can replace it with. So, Chazon Ish says, we have a perfect system. And even so, even with this perfect system that we have, the existence of man in this world is still not perfect though. By nature, there are many mishaps, illnesses, and diseases in the world, with new ones appearing from time to time. Never has there been a better time to mention this pasuk from the Chazon Ish, of how he reminds us that no matter how perfect we think we are, how developed we think we are, how advanced we think we are, our life is vulnerable to illnesses, to mishaps, to diseases in the world, especially the new ones that appear from time to time. Now, years ago, there was a new virus that came out, shocked the world. No one knew how to handle it. It was a sexually transmitted disease that was particularly punishing those that are promiscuous and homosexual. And they called it AIDS. And AIDS killed something like 35 million people. You know, people are crying right now because of the 10 million people that have been infected by corona, but nowhere near that number died, Baruch Hashem. A few 100,000 people died, unfortunately. But in comparison to AIDS, nothing, not even 1%. And until this day, there are people that die from AIDS. But as the medical world advanced in their knowledge and their investigation, they still haven't figured out a cure for it. There's one person in history that was cured by it. But there are many, and I know at least two, that if you check them, you won't find HIV. They don't have AIDS, they have HIV, but they know they have it. But if you check them, you won't find it. Why? Because the medicine has improved so much that as long as they comply with the medicine, they do everything that they need to do, it's undiagnosable. So much so that, according to research and according to what they've told me, and they're obviously both experts in the field because they live with it, they can even reproduce and bring children to the world in a normal way. Big advance from 30, 40 years ago. Still no cure, but people that have this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has made a way for some of these people to still have a life. When he came out with a cure for part of cancer, a certain part of a type of cancer, maybe 15 years ago, people all over the world were celebrating, Baruch Hashem. That same year, they discovered a new disease that it's a certain chaydak, certain germ, or that, in so many words, 24 hours, person's dead. It's a chaydak anitraf. In so many words, the destruction of the person. This specific disease is called destruction. I don't know what it's called in English, but that's the way it translates from Hebrew. 24 hours, the person's dead. Meaning there's not even enough time to find a cure, or even to give it to a person. And one of the boys in the yeshiva Ktana, when Rabbi Chaim was still in yeshiva, a teenager, they found this in him. They found this chaydak. The Rav told him, okay, everybody, medicine's not going to fight. There's no time. Doctor says he's not. If he makes it tonight, it's a miracle. But a week for sure, he's not going to make it. A week? Oh wait, he has this thing. His skin. What are we going to do? We're going to study all night. Everybody, the whole yeshiva, study the whole night. Without no talking. Tani tibu. Why? The doctor of all flesh, the miracle worker. So that's what the boys did. They studied all night without chit-chatting, without smoking cigarettes, without all the messing around. Next morning, they finished studying, praying, everything. Everyone is exhausted, but they did something good. No, you don't usually get such quick results, but in this particular case, you have to. They called the hospital. The boy is miraculously improved. By the end of the week, disease gone. Never to come back. Another case, also in Eretz Yisrael, there was a father that came to a Rav in Yerushalayim, and he told him that they found this in his son. And he said, I'm going to pay every single person 300 shekels to study all night for the whole week, because that's how long the doctors gave my son to survive this disease. There's no cure, there's no treatment, there's no nothing. He's simply suffering. And he told me to say goodbye to him. So please, maybe at least do some schuyot, go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A bunch of people signed up. By the end of the week, miraculously recovered. Healed, never to come back again. So we see that there is an unusual pattern here, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows us that there are certain diseases that He gives us the ability to treat, and even to cure. And there are certain diseases that are new, that appear from time to time, that are incurable. Right now the whole world is fighting to be the first one to cure this coronavirus. Some say that this certain antibiotic that starts with an H, is combined with some other antibiotics, would work to cure many people. Some say it doesn't. Needless to say, there's no accepted solution for the virus, because you're still seeing people die every day. Anyone that comes up with the cure that's accepted among all of the experts around the world, for sure will become a billionaire. But so far, Kadosh Baruch Hu is not allowing it to happen. Whether it's because of political reasons or because of other reasons, doesn't really make a difference. Every day, unfortunately, the numbers continue to deteriorate. And since everyone is starting to go back to the real world, the scare has come back because the numbers are skyrocketing. The amount of people that are diagnosed with coronavirus over the last few days is shocking many people, including in Florida, where they're saying this Shem Yishmo can be turned into the next New York. So Chazon Ish continues and he says, this too was not unknown to the wisest of all, who brought everything into existence. And he made sure to provide ways to heal each and every mishap and disease, so much so that man can be completely healed and restored to life. The Chazon Ish is saying something spectacular here. He's actually saying that there is, in this world, a cure for every disease. Now the Gemara in Masechet Pesachim, page 56a, has a Mishnah. And the Mishnah says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in the Berita, which is like a Berita, not a Mishnah, Shisha Dvarim asa Chizkiah Melech, Shlosha hodu lo, v'ashlosha lo hodu lo. Chizkiah, the king, who HaKadosh Baruch Hu at one moment wanted to make him Mashiach. And he did 6 things. 6 major things. And the sages agreed with him about 3 of them, and disagreed with him concerning the other 3. So, one of the 3 is that he took the Nachash HaNechoshet, the copper snake, that Moshe Rabbeinu fashioned when Am Yisrael was punished because they were complaining a lot. And Hashem simply brought a bunch of snakes into the desert that started biting people and killing them. And Moshe Rabbeinu started praying to Hashem, Hashem said, okay, make a piece of copper, turn it into a snake, and put it on top of the mountain. And anyone that looks at it will be healed. Now let me ask you guys a question. If someone looked up and saw the snake, did the snake zap him or something? The snake sent him some Advil? The snake say, take 2 hydrochloroquine, come back to me tomorrow, let me know how you are? No, the snake is a piece of copper. So what does it mean to look at the snake and you're going to be healed? What does that mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows his creation. He knows that human beings sometimes require something tangible, something physical. If you tell them to look up, they say, why? I'm dying. If you put something up there, naturally we look. That's why the billboard business is such a profitable business. Because naturally, we're on the highway, we see something, we look. See, look, monkeys. We look at everything. We see something, we look. You have to train yourself not to look. Why? Because 99% of them are immodest. 99% of it is advertising is snoot. Even if it's just a doctor's office. It's a doctor's office advertised by some immodest woman. So you have to train yourself not to look. And people always ask me about, what do you think about these filters for the phone? I said, yeah, it's good, but it's not going to help you. Why is it not going to help you? I said, Yirat Shamayim is not built into the filter. If you don't get Yirat Shamayim, you'll break the filter and then you'll find something even worse than you did without the filter. In fact, the filter may make it even worse because it's even harder to get to the snoot.